Hi and welcome back to 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗀. I was going to do a quick update on Multivac. I know I've seen a few comments. People are a little bit concerned with what's going on with the recent pullback that we've seen with MTV. So I'm going to dive into the daily and the hourly charts just to kind of go through what I'm seeing here when it comes to Multivac. Guys, as we get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗀. Right, with that said, done out of the way, let's dive right into this daily chart and really take a look at what's going on with Multivac. Okay, so what we're going to do is we obviously have got, let's just start off with the basics. So we have got a Fibonacci retracement tool running from the high up here of the 13th of April, pulling back down into this really low area during the 19th of May. We've then been bouncing around this buy zone for a little bit, okay, and basically if you remember, you would be aware of the videos that we've been doing talking about taking advantage of this particular area when we quickly wick into here and then we're basically shooting on out. So there's a huge opportunity to basically buy up quite a good position at the bottom. We obviously had a good surge to the upside, right? This really kind of kick-started basically in August, right? August had a good long surge to the upside. Then we'll see we entered into September and we started to see a bit of a pullback. Now this pullback here, again, is in line with a little bit of fear that's in the space, right? The market's not quite ready to kind of get that serious traction and start moving to the north side, right? And basically what you're seeing here is the fact that it's a micro cap coin. It's more volatile. People tend generally leave the space out of micro cap coins faster than they do out of things like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Usually Bitcoin and Ethereum are seen as the safer bets, if you will. That's usually the terminology that gets spoken about. But for us on the channel here, this is just another opportunity, and I'm going to go into where that opportunity is in this particular video and what our thoughts patterns are longer term when it comes to Multivac, right? So right now, obviously, we do have the key areas of that Fibonacci retracement tool, right? So taking that high and that low allows us to put the fib on based on that performance. That then shows that we do have some interesting areas that I do think we were likely to overachieve on anyway, but 7.2 is the 4.236 extension, right? So 7.2 cent is the high based on the current performance. But outside of this, we had the mainnet, we've had the staking, with a little bit of marketing, which I think they are now actually recruiting for a marketing specialist, and exchange listings, partnerships and things like that. That's going to basically see some more adoption, and there's already a squeeze on the supply. So all we now need is a demand. That demand is going to come in once we start seeing marketing activity, and of course, once we actually start to see some of those new partnerships and things like that in exchange listings occurring. That's really going to help push this one significantly to the upside. So I do think we are going to go much higher than 7.2, but obviously it's hard to say until we actually get across the line. So right now we can of course see that we are pulling back down into these lower areas, back into our key areas on that fib, right? The 786, the 702, the 618. Okay, and basically these are 12.2 cent, 13.6 cent, and 15 cent. Okay, those are the three areas on the chart that we're really bouncing into. Now, ultimately, I do think that we've got a lot of progress still to be made to the upside, but it is still super early for Multivac to really see this occurring right now. I think we need to start to see Bitcoin really take out some of its next kind of key areas, the 786 at 57.5K. Once we start to see that kind of traction with Bitcoin, I think we're going to see a lot more confidence in the space. Now, before I go down to the hourly and I really go into what's going on with the recent pullback, we are going to jump into the 𝗲𝗏 dashboard. And on the 𝗲𝗏 dashboard, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some of the underlying data and what is going on with this underlying value of Multivac, right? So for those who are unfamiliar, there's a link in the description down below to advice.io. Sign up, it's completely free, and you're going to be able to get a lot more insight when it comes to your cryptocurrencies. Now, for Multivac here, we were B2 rating. We have come down a rating in the last 24 hours in line with the pullback that we are seeing, right? And again, this is the artificial intelligence machine learning that is indicating this, completely void of any human interaction, right? So right now, we're actually in a pretty good understanding that things are going to be volatile for a small period of time. As we come down, though, this is where we get a little bit more of the granular detail, and we find out why we've actually slipped down to a B2 rating. We have an AMI-HAD ratio. This is A2. And the AMI-HAD ratio is basically your liquidity. Is there a problem with liquidity, or is there no issues with liquidity whatsoever? And in the case here of the AMI-HAD ratio, A2 is indicating there are no problems with liquidity, which means buying and selling Multivac is actually looking pretty good with no potential issues. We come across to the right-hand side here. We have a fear and greed index that's specific to Multivac, not the generalized fear and greed Bitcoin index that you see all over the place. This is one that is specific to Multivac. And here we can see it's a rating of D, the worst rating that you can get. So we know that there's a lot of fear in the space for Multivac. A lot of people are concerned over what is going on with MTV, and as a result are more likely to sell than buy right now, okay? So we obviously know that there's some fear that's driving the price to the downside, right? But this is an opportunity, and I'll go into why. As we come down to the next level here, we can see a Sharpe ratio. The Sharpe ratio is your A2 rating, so second best rating in this platform can give you. What is the Sharpe ratio? The Sharpe ratio is a risk-reward ratio. Basically, it's indicating to us with an A2 rating that actually the rewards outweigh the risks, okay? So these two things, the fear and greed index at rating of D and a Sharpe ratio at an A2, are polar opposites of each other. They should be aligned if we are seeing FOMO activity or fear activity, right? If it's genuine. So what you actually find is this fear that's unwarranted, right? Because we have good liquidity, we have a good Sharpe ratio. And as we come down, we have good profitability up at A1, right? The only two issues that we have are the moving averages that have been affected most recently down at C2, and we have a fear and greed index at a rating of D. So there's unreasonable amount of fear, and if you're actually wise enough to use the advice dashboard here, you're actually going to be able to pick up on the fact that the Sharpe ratio is saying actually you might want to hold MTV and not sell it, whereas the people who are acting emotionally within the space are potentially selling at a discounted rate, right? And you knowing this, using this platform, you'll be able to basically buy that fear, right? Certain types of fear that you do buy, certain types of fear that you don't buy. And so obviously I'm not a financial advisor, Chris is not a financial advisor, so it's important that you do your own research, and using the advice.io dashboard should be one of those in my opinion. Link in the description below, check it out. It has been right more times than I can count, really, to be honest with you. So really do recommend getting this level of insight on your cryptocurrencies when you're really analyzing what to buy and what not to buy, right? So unrelated or unnecessary to have this amount of fear in the space for Multivac. So we do know that basically there's a lot of fear, extreme fear for MTV right now, and of course knowing that there's actually a good risk reward ratio, we could take advantage of that. So as we come back to the chart and we jump down into our hourly, let's expand this up and just take a look at what's going on here. If I actually get rid of that, here we can see that we've found this downward trend, right? We found the downward trend and we've been tracking it. We've been trying to push our way through it. We were trying to find support on our buy zone just here. Okay, so for those who are members will know that this is the area that we've been talking about buying up some MTV on these particular dips. And once we're into this area, we have obviously moved on out of here significantly, right? So dipping back in, just touching on the 786. Now today, obviously we actually pulled down towards our 702, this area just down here. This is a much deeper buy, okay, a buying zone, sorry. So as the price fell down with that bad sentiment, that fear that's in the space, it brought us right into a pretty good position to be buying up a serious portion of MTV. Now, obviously my MTV bags are full, but hopefully any members who were aware of this would basically be buying up that fear as we were entering just past, in fact, the 1.4 cent, okay, the 1.4 cent here, and we were just wicked below it before moving on up. So we're only in here for a couple of hours before we actually moved on up. Right now, finding resistance just on top of the 786. I do anticipate that we are likely to pull back a little bit, rest on top of our 786, area, and then push on past our trend line, okay? That's the objective here. So we have pushed past the 786, that's just at the bottom here, and we're coming just at the top of our buy zone. This is a previous area of support that is now forming into a bit of resistance. So do anticipate a small pullback before potentially breaking this downward trend altogether and moving to the upside, but it is heavily dependent on what Bitcoin does. Okay, so for Multivac to be really successful in its next move, we need to see Bitcoin basically push past its 786 area of 57.5K. If Bitcoin becomes volatile, then we should be expecting basically a more volatile MTV for a little bit longer. That being said, it doesn't change from the long-term prospect of where we think this is going, and this is just another opportunity to continue to buy and build a good position in MTV ahead of what our price expectations are later in the year. So overall, everything's looking pretty good from my perspective. Again, we're aware that this is a good buying opportunity down here, and again, if we were to come down lower to our buy zone towards the end here of 1.3 cent, a lot of our members will know that that was basically where you're going to be buying up millions of MTV, or looking to basically build up a pretty solid position. Of course, you can, dollar cost average all of these little dips that you see, but I've been saving this particular area for basically mass buying of a large portion. So if you're going to make a large purchase, those fractions of a penny can make a serious difference. Overall, I'm pretty positive on what is going on. Let me just actually go back to MTV there with everything that's going on with MTV. And I do anticipate that MTV is going to have a pretty good close of the year. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. Hopefully you have found it useful and informative. If you have, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.